Hey, Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Age of Wonders 4, one of my favorite Fantasy 4X addictions. Now, this video is sponsored by Paradox Interactive and Triumph Studios. Paradox are the publisher and Triumph are the developer for the game, and that's because there is a brand new DLC available today. Go ahead and check the link in the description. And this DLC has a massive amount of updates to the game. You've got an entirely new type of ruler called Giant Kings. You've got a new special crystal dwelling with unique quests and abilities and shops. You've got special landmark regions, as well as 38 new handcrafted decorative regions that can just appear on the map alongside the randomly generated aspects. You've got new shop structures, you've got faded regions, you've got new wildlife, new units, you've got new tomes, which is the technology system in Age of Wonders 4, new realm traits, new ancient wonders, new music, and that is ignoring the fact that Age of Wonders 4 is constantly getting updated with free updates, reworks to mechanics, balance changes, bug fixes. The developers of this game are so incredibly responsive to community feedback, and yeah, they just did an amazing job. And like, I gotta say, it's got an amazing meta progression system with the Pantheon. I mean, look, I say amazing in that most of it is just kind of cosmetic and doesn't really massively impact your gameplay. So you're just gonna have fun unlocking like a Warhound mount and stuff like that, right? And that's why I'm always so happy to take a sponsored video for Age of Wonders 4. I have hundreds of hours in the game. I love it. I highly recommend it. It's an incredibly fun game. I recommend buying the base game. I recommend buying the DLC. I recommend buying them on sale if you're a little bit tight on money. There's usually a sale pretty regularly. I know the game has been going on sale for anywhere between 30 and 35% off over the last year. And most of the DLC goes for 25 to 50% off depending on the time of the year and etc. So you can get this game pretty cheap and it is super worth it. You're going to get hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of this. Now we're going to go ahead and start on one of the new God King realms. And I want to make sure that the Crystal Dwelling is present here. So these are basically your map types. So we're going to be playing the Grim Glory Depths today. Now this is a realm once ruled by the Giant Kings of Merida. And there's a little bit of lore about the Giant Kings as well as Merida itself. Now there will be a crystal dwelling in place on this map, which is a new DLC feature. They have some unique things about them that we're going to discover. And the Legends of Merida as well means that there will be faded regions present on the map, which will offer special quest chains. We'll gain artifacts when we complete faded regions, and there are some special map effects. It's also got low population subdued effect, lingering creators, which will make giant units common, and it's a continent map type. So let's go ahead and select this. I'll set up my usual default settings where I don't allow the AI to pick anything but library rulers, and we will set the difficulty to hard. I like playing Age of Wonders 4 on hard and not on the highest difficulty, because I find the highest difficulty just isn't as fun. Now let us create our faction. I want to go with some sort of underground dwelling faction, so I might go with the Molekin. So I definitely want the underground adaptation, because I want to do like a stone giant run or something, you know? So let's go with defensive tactics, bulwark, and underground adaptation. And I'm tempted to go industrious here because I've never really been able to make an industrious run work for me, so I kind of want to. And I know that the giants actually really like binding essence stuff and crafting items. So I'm somewhat tempted to go with the reclaimers here so that we start with binding essence and the item forge. I have done a perfectionist artisan run, but I don't know if that's really what I enjoy. Great builders, on the other hand, gaining gold for every quarry that we build and special province improvements being cheaper to produce. That sounds like a lot of fun. So we're very much so going fully into the high production build here. And I think I'm going to go with the Tome of Rock. We can get rock blasts, stone skin, lesser stone spirits, gargoyles, obsidian weaponries, all this kind of cool stuff that you can get from the Tome of Rock. And we're definitely going to be creating a Giant King. And today I want to be a rock giant. Now rock giants have some pretty unique abilities, but we'll talk a little bit more about those during the game. Oh crap, do I want to be one of these new classes? Oh, I love that the giants... Also, by the way, this is the size of the giant compared to the mole people. He's very, very different in size. I love the idea of him carrying around a giant totem obelisk on his back as his weapon. The question is, do I want him to be a mage or a ritualist? I think I'll make him a specialist ritualist so that he's like all about combat summoning units. Oh yeah, I like this outfit. I think I want to give him like a better helmet though. Oh yes, I'm getting like Tauren Chieftain vibes, you know what I mean? ETC, or whoever the guy who had the totem on his back was in that old game. You know the one I'm talking about. Earth Shaker. Oh yeah, this guy looks like a real Earth Shaker now. Now, interestingly, if I change the color, I think I want to... What color do we want to be for the underground? I would imagine we would either be white, probably white and black for our underground people. Because we would want to, you know, if we're underground people, we would want the color that reflects the most light. You know what I mean? That's my thought. And then I always love the look of copper armor. So that's what I'm going to choose for my faction. Oh, you can see him during the daytime. That is so cool. All right, perfect. I'm happy with this. We will be Rockman Crushstone, leading the tunnel diggers with the throne city of the giants repose. Very cool. And my leader is going to be a collector, so he's going to be really interested in having a full equipment of tier 2 items. Onward to the realm of men and magic. Dude, this is the thing about Age of Wonders 4. You can spend 15 minutes just building a faction, and then you get to jump into the game and you get to play around with them. Like, I find that the faction building aspect of the game just so much fun. It reminds me of being a kid and like playing those like simulation games. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about, like our faction and what we do and what we're good at. So we're starting with the Tome Rock. There's like so many different things that we need to talk about. We start with the Bolstering Chant, which is a heal that also provides a defensive buff against physical damage, and Rock Blast, which is a physical attack that removes defense mode from our enemies. So we have a defensive and an offensive piece of magic, which is pretty standard, I think, for most spell books. So we have a lot that we need to talk about in terms of this leader being a Giant King. I should have actually talked about it in the race, or the faction creation screen, rather. There are some pretty unique things that he does. Like, so one of the things that he does that's unique is that he is a Giant King Governor. Now, Giant Kings have some unique ability. You can see here, Tier 1, quarries will give more production. Tier 2, city structures will cost less gold. Tier 3, quarries will grant binding essences. These are what you use to produce items in the item forge. And city structures will grant +2 gold in addition to their normal effects. And finally, we will be able to draft rock giant units. These will be a lot of fun to play around with once we get around to them. There's a few other unique things about giants, right? For example, we have the rock rune stele, which is a unique province improvement that will convert nearby territory into mountains or stalagmites, depending on whether or not we're above ground or underground. So basically, we terraform and we enjoy terraforming. My scout here, I'm going to send them off here so they can go and start prospecting underground for resources. And I'm going to immediately grab myself a second pioneer and rush it out, because I do think that rushing out a second pioneer is actually extremely valuable when you're playing an industrious faction, as you can run around their production and other resources for your empire. Now, unfortunately, I was too broke to make use of that, but that's okay. Now, we got some battles nearby to fight. We've got a 208 combat power stack and 180 combat power stack. I think let's go and fight our very first battle right here. Now, the auto combat should go pretty well for us. We lose our scout, so I'm going to fight this manually and see if we can get a better outcome. Oh my god, look how big my leader is. Jesus, he is so huge. Okay, so he has the Conjure Animated Sword ability. So we'll conjure an animated sword. We'll put that into defense mode for now. We'll move our units forward, try to get a bit of damage on these guys, and then we'll see what happens. So we're up against some skirmishers as well as some fighters. So the animated sword is a combat summon. It will disappear eventually. Let's step it forward and attack this enemy unit to eat the retaliation on a unit that we don't particularly care about. We could do a overdrawn crossbow shot to cancel his defense mode. I think what we're doing is we're just going to step forward gently, do a regular crossbow shot, and then we'll do 2 melee strikes here. I will bring my Giant King up, and he will throw the obelisk at him. Boom, big totem smash, love it. And then we're going to bring our scout around to the right here so they can take a shot as well. I want to use a rock blast. You know what? Let's use a rock blast to get the kill, because I think killing off an enemy unit this early into the battle on turn 1, getting a kill is a big deal. The sword summon is very expendable in my eyes, so I don't mind if that gets killed. Whereas this warrior here, like, he's taking a little bit too much damage. I think what I will do is I'll use a rock blast on this guy so that he doesn't retaliate against this next attack. So we can do 12 damage without taking retaliation. I'll move up with my sword and hopefully get the kill. Perfect. Now I want to retreat with my scout, because scouts can't shoot when they're in melee. So I'm going to need to use my overdraw crossbow to cancel this guy's retaliation so that my scout can step away without taking a retaliation attack and then still get a crossbow shot off on him. The obelisk crash does 20 damage, as does the kick. So let's do the obelisk crash. We need to bring his health down. The lower health an enemy has, like the less models, you can see all these dead strewn bodies, the less models in the unit's ranks, the less damage they will do. Now, my combat summon has died, and they did get a flanking shot on me, but that's not the worst. We should be able to drop a heal on this guy. Let's get an overdraw crossbow here. That's you dead. A kick should just about finish you off. Maybe we can get a flanked shot to break their morale. No? Well, how about we retreat you to safe terrain and bolster so that you're in defense mode. Yeah, it looks like they're routing now. That's perfect. So we'll just claim the victory right now. So our melee unit took a little bit more damage than we would like, but it's fine. Rockman Crushstone won the battle. We're going to go ahead and stand right here to get a turn of replenishment before we go into our next battle. We get to set our arcane research. I really like Earthkin. Earthkin will give all of our units +1 defense. Defense is used to protect against physical damage. We'll also have mountain camouflage and mountain walk, allowing us to move across mountainous terrain. I believe that also applies mountains and cliffs, yeah. So I do like this. Earthkin is awesome. Obsidian weaponry is going to be really nice too, as it will give all of our melee and physical ranged attacks +1 physical damage and a chance to apply bleeding. So that will work really well. Do I want to lock Earthkin, or do I just want to get Obsidian? I think I'm just going to get Obsidian weaponries here. Big fan of enchanting my units with early game power buffs. We have a small creature cage here and a large creature cage here. I don't love those because they really eat up your early game mana income. I may get one anyway. Coming into the City of Giants Repose, I'm going to get myself a second Anvil Guard to act as my front line. I will grab this Lesser Stone Spirit. Honestly, it's fine. I don't love summons because, again, if you look at the summon, right, he's using 8 mana per turn, which is a lot of mana really early into the game. So I'm going to want to grab this mana node earlier than I would normally want to maybe try and go for it, which is fine. But especially if I get this large creature cage, my mana is going to be really stretched in the early game here. Let's have a look at the auto combat, see what happens. Honestly, this is a perfectly acceptable auto combat outcome, so I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I always like to just see, oh wow, we got a dire penguin. That is an interesting unit. And the really nice thing about this actually is it is an animal unit, which means it has low maintenance and it uses gold, but it's a tier 2 fighter. And that means fighters are really nice because they get lots of combat stats as they level up. They get the brawler medal. I definitely think that this penguin has a sort of like limited lifespan in our army, but you know, evil dire penguin gonna do the job for us. I'm gonna step back into my city again to get a nice regen tick. You heal faster when you're inside your territory, and we definitely want to be looking for places that we can prospect. So we've got a nice spot right over here that we can do a prospection. Boom, there's 44 gold, which we can use to fuel the economy in our city. I do like one of the first things that I get in my city to be the workers farmstead upgrade, because it leads to the grand mill, which is the unique type of farm for the industrious culture. So I feel pretty safe getting to work on that workers farmstead. Go ahead and excavate here. 50 production. Oh, shaved some time off that. It could be worth it for me to pop the attract population button here, and I think I will, so that I can get this forester. Although technically this forester is just strictly better because it's on a mana node. So we'll grab that. That will boost the workers farmstead, getting us a slight refund on the building. Perfect. And our ruler has leveled up. Now our ruler has started. He's a giant king and he's a ritualist, and he started with the conjure animated weapon. We can upgrade the conjure animated weapon ability by allowing it to deal 10 physical damage when it's adjacent to enemies when it's been cast. So I will go for that. I'll go down that path of turning him into a conjurer. This resource node does not look occupied, but I would like to head up towards this mana node to the north. We're going to see what the next turn looks for us. Alright, I will use my leader to step forward and catch these guys. It should be a safe battle. We shouldn't lose anything. My little stone spirit got a level up. We shared some experience throughout my army. I don't love that this pioneer over here slurped up some of that experience. It's not my favorite thing, but we did get 75 mana out of that, which is not so bad. Let's make sure we explore to the east. It's good that if we have knowledge of the underground. We are going to want more pioneers to start digging through these tunnels as time goes on. But for now, most of their job is to be excavating and finding things like this, a tier 2 robe that we can equip to our hero, because we want to reach his ambition, right? We want to try and hit his ambition as fast as possible, which is to be equipped with tier 2 items all across his abilities. I'm going to send you over here to the west to start excavating. And I will send you to continue down south to continue excavating as well. There we go, 70 production. That should finish a building in here. And now we can build the library in a single turn, which is going to help us with our research. It's only 10 research when we currently make 60. So it's not a huge game-changing amount. But we're going to go for the Grand Mill again because we want to get ourselves another forester in 2 turns. And this will get us a nice kickstart to the city's food income, which is actually quite important when you're playing an industrious faction. And you know what else is important, if I remember correctly? We need to split our troops up here so that we can get excavating, because there's nothing else down here for us at the current time. All right, we've split up. We're excavating 3 tiles already. See what we can find down there. And we have a new development available. However, we can't afford military engineering just yet, so we'll leave that for now. I want to be master of the underground. The underverse shall be mine. Okay, we found a couple of nodes. We found an iron deposit and a gold vein. We found a pathway down through here. Let's keep exploring and excavating there. This is what I'm talking about. Needing the Visor of Farsight at tier 2. We should make sure we equip that on our hero. He loves to have items equipped. But yeah, excavating is very, very important to find more. So it's 268, 230. The 230 would be a little bit easier for us to go for. However, I'm slightly worried about the fact that my penguin isn't here, so I might pull the penguin back and wait for more anvil guards. So we might just focus on excavating more. Get in over here, excavate. Lovely, 59 gold. Bring Rockman anvil guard around. I'll step you forward, we'll excavate right there. I'll bring my faction leader up here to excavate there. We just finished researching obsidian weapons, so we could, in theory, actually start casting that. Now that's going to cost us 3 mana per unit that is affected by it, which is a decent amount of mana. And I suppose probably the thing that I want to do first is actually get myself a rock rune stele, because we actually have special benefits as a giant ruler from having territory with stalagmites. I forget what our special benefit is, but I think we either get extra production or extra gold. All right, let's have a look at some excavations here. We found some Arcanium ore. That's a really good early find. We found a Litharine core, which is a new support unit. I love this kind of faces surrounding a crystal. Very cool unit. We excavated up here. I think this is probably guarded. What are you? A production stash. Well, quickly grab that then. Yeah, when you're playing underground, I feel like you need a bunch of scouts. I want to get myself a second forester. 2 foresters is like what I consider to be the benchmark amount that you need. You really don't need more than 2 or 3 of each type. And I do like to make sure that I get 2 or 3 of each type. I like to get 2 foresters, 2 farms, 2 quarries. You know, get those going because that gets you your early boosts toward buildings, allows you to develop your city really quickly, especially when you're playing an industrious civilization with lots and lots of production. Now, by no means am I an expert at this game. I am okay at this game. Now, I'm pretty sure we'll lose some units in this auto combat, so I will want to fight it myself. Oh yeah, here we go. So we've got our giant beetle, we've got a sunderer, we've got a scrap hermit. Now the scrap hermit is pretty dangerous because it has this poison spray that sunders defense, and we're a faction that likes to play around having high defense. The pestilent escape beetle isn't too bad. The sunderer is going to be, these guys are going to whittle away our defense quite a bit more than we would otherwise like. So we will want to make ample use of defense modes. Let's kind of see if we can we bait them into an early engagement? We can if we position this anvil guard here and use our defense mode. This will give us +2 to defense and resistance, and adjacent units will get a defense boost. But what we can do is we can cleverly position our lesser stone spirit in a similar position and provide the shield wall bonus, meaning this guy now has 12 physical defense, bringing him down, or rather, he's only taking 28% of the damage he would normally take. And he's in range of this beetle, and this is kind of what we're hoping is that this will bait the beetle in. So that is the dream. Now, I could do something a little sneaky and get my ruler up on this cliff to throw a rock. Boom. And that actually is pretty effective because now he's in like a pretty hard to get position up on the cliff. And I'll bring my arbalist over here in defense mode as well. And see how that they react to this position. Yeah, I can see them doing the Sunder defense. The nice thing is with the Sunderers, we kind of counter the Sunderer and they kind of counter us because every time they hit us, they bolster our defense, but with their ranged attack, they also sunder. So it comes out, nil. I'm going to use an overdraw here because I want to cancel this unit's retaliation. You'd see we would take 7 damage, but if I use an overdraw attack with my arbalist, we cancel this unit's retaliation, and now we can do 18 damage without taking any retaliation damage. Like that. Perfect. And then to keep my units healthy and well defended, I'm going to use the Lesser Stone Spirit's Shield Wall ability. I'm going to drop a sword right here in between these two units, ideally just to distract them. And then I'm going to throw a Rock Blast at the Sunderer to cancel his retaliation, so my sword can get a big nasty hit on him without taking a retaliation strike. This is what I call a really good start to a battle. You can see here, they come forward. They did a little plague burst on me. Not a big deal. My sword is getting hit hard. Beetle is retreating. Lovely. 1 damage or 11 damage retaliation. That was beautiful. If I throw a rock with my Giant King here, or throw my Obelisk, this will do a bunch of damage in an AoE, getting that kill right there. Boom. And it was a flank attack too, which is fantastic. Now I could get a 60% chance to cancel this guy's retaliation from this position. I think I will use a Rock Blast to cancel his retaliation instead. Move my Lesser Stone Spirit forward in defense mode and move my Arbalest into a position to get a higher percentage chance strike, and then we can do 18 damage without retaliation. Very much so, playing the Industrious is all about, like, how do you navigate enemy retaliation attacks? How do you navigate bolstered defenses? How do you sunder their defenses? All that sort of stuff. It's a whole thing. Making sure you have enough mana in the bank to cast a spell every turn. We can get the kill with just a basic attack from our archer here. We don't need to overdraw it. We can push you forward with a bulwark, push you forward with a bulwark. Then we will just do a regular attack. And to prevent you from taking too much damage, because you're already pretty low, I'm just going to throw you a heal, because if he decided to spray you, it'd be annoying, because then you would take longer to get to full health on the battlefield, and I want to just kind of give you that little bit of a buffer health. Yeah, perfect. Let's zip up behind this guy so that we can get a flank attack on him, hopefully breaking him. Yeah, and now he's fleeing. Perfect. Flank attacks damage enemy morale. So we killed everyone, got a level up on my hero, got some good experience on everyone in the battle, and we got 120 gold for clearing that gold mine, and things are continuing to look pretty good. Something I would like to craft actually here is I might like to craft a trinket for healing. So let's see, can I get a Horn of Rejuvenation? Okay, I need to have a Rainbow Clover to allow my units to heal faster. Okay, unlucky. All right, let's get excavating. I think excavating the underground is a very, very important part of the Industrious early game. And if you can get an excavate and a dig off at the same time, that's fantastic. All right, another Anvil Guard has finished, so I think that will justify me grabbing myself another Arbalest to send to the front. I would like to clear this quarry and this Arcanum ore nice and early. I think that would make me very happy. We can get the Rune of Industry, which will give any of my units that are non-industrious the bolstering effect, as long as they're a polearm, shield, shock, skirmisher, or a fighter. So basically anything that has a melee attack and isn't mythic. Or we could go for the Wayfinder enchantment and the Super Scout range. I may go for better scouts because we are going to get a few of them. The Rune of Industry is fantastic, but I think the better scouts is quite useful. Now, my Sovereign has leveled up again, and I think I would like to conjure an animated hammer rather than an animated sword. The animated sword is fantastic. By the way, I love the UI in this game. The animated sword is amazing, right? It has 60 health. It does 12 damage per strike, up to 3 strikes. The Warhammer, the animated Warhammer, has 18 damage that can get a 20% damage boost and cancels defense mode and retaliation attacks, which gives it a lot more utility than the sword. The shield, on the other hand, is really useful because it has a chance to inflict stunned. It's really quite powerful. Now, it does only strike once. However, I really like the utility of cancelling enemy defense modes and retaliation attacks with the Tremor Charge. So let's go for the animated Warhammer, and we can summon a Rock Rune Stele. I'm just going to put it into my capital, if I can get it to cast properly. There we go. So now we have the Rock Rune Stele, and every single turn it's going to spread stalagmites around. It does have an upkeep of 5 per turn, but that's fine. All right, we excavated an area and we did find some food underground. Let's grab that food. That should have triggered a growth event, or at least, yeah, okay, we'll trigger a growth event next turn. Let's come forward here. We will excavate here. There's 43 gold, and we will dig. I'm going to send you to the north, as you've done pretty much everything you can down here. Oh, lovely. We found a tier 1 leggings. I'm going to disenchant. Well, no, actually, I'm going to take that reward. I don't want to disenchant it yet, and you'll see why later. Okay, I want to take on this iron deposit with my army of Rockman. This will be a potential loss here. Oh, okay. We got a Lesser Stone Spirit. Perfect. We got 70 production. Greaves' Swiftness. It's tier 2. I can equip those. No problem. We just need 4 more items of tier 2 quality for our leader to reach his ambition. And I think what I would really like to do is to get these guys home for a round of regeneration. So anyone who's kind of viciously hurt will be sent home for healing. Now, since I plan on building a farm, well, actually, I plan on building... I would like to get the estate hall pretty early. I'll get started on a shrine. We need the mana income. They give you plus 10 mana per turn, which will really help us getting some of our enchantments up early. So there's a quarry right here that we can get online. We could put a gold mine on it, but I would like a quarry because that will boost the shrine instantaneously finishing it and also allowing us to get the Arcane Institute nice and early, which will be another 15 research points per turn, which gives our research a nice little kickstart. It's not going to be a completely game-changing amount of research, but it is a nice little kickstart. Let's pop in here. We'll excavate that. This 6 production. I believe this is a cartographer. It should reveal the location of... found Copper Spire. We found a haunted graveyard down here to the south, which could be worth it to clear. Although I really want to clear this Arcanum ore because it's very, very worth it for us to clear this nice and early and then try to get it into our city. Okay, Penguin, keep on exploring. You're just not really in a position to join or be helpful. I got this Penguin out of position, and that was a mistake, honestly. All right, we want to kind of skirt this haunted graveyard. We found some gold. I love how much gold this faction gets. It's like crazy good early game gold. We got a new Empire development skill. 20% less gold to build city structures is incredible. It means that the gold that we already make a lot of will go a lot further. This is very much so like the Empire building. Okay, Rockman Crush Stone is gaining renown slowly. He gains 2 renown for every item he has equipped, I believe. Every 5 turns. Something like that anyway. All right, finally, we have a full stack of units for the first time this game, which is great. I'm excited for that. Exploring with the Penguin, we found some crystals. Let's go excavate this. We found a Wand of Provocation, which is a tier 2 item. I'm going to go ahead and give that to my leader. Again, because he loves to have items equipped. That is his shtick. We'll dig right here. Their armor. We will eventually be disenchanting that, just not yet. We got the Wayfinder enchantment. We're going to go ahead and run that back. Let's recruit a new pioneer. Probably want like maybe 2 more pioneers to get a full understanding of what's going on. In 1 turn, the city will grow again, and I will probably go for my second quarry so that I can get more obelisks. Get this mana obelisk up, which is another 15 mana per turn, which is going to be important. Let's cast a Wayfinder enchantment. It's 2 mana per scout, so I think 4 is a good amount to get. This is going to give them very fast movement, so they have 48 movement speed on the map. And I find scouting information, in particular for the industrious factions, being able to scout really fast and really far is very, very useful. Now, this is a bronze infestation spawner. Let's go take it out before it spawns anything. Hopefully an easy auto combat. Okay, we did lose a unit, so we're going to fight this manually. I would prefer not to fight these battles manually. Like if you can get an easy auto resolve, you should take the easy auto resolve. Okay, I'm going to step forward with you and drop the rock on these guys. I'm playing Warlock in Dota 2. Dropping the rock on people is my favorite thing to do. We're going to bulwark up our front line. Everyone's going to be in bulwark. We're incredibly hard to kill when we're in our defensive modes. Now, my leader is currently my most vulnerable unit, but that's fine because he has a lot of health to chew through, right? So he took a little bit of damage, no big deal. I dropped this on him and he's fine. We do a overdraw crossbow on this overgrown undead crab. Now he doesn't get a retaliation attack. We step back a single tile. We drop a warhammer on these guys' heads. And then we get a tremor melee charge on his back, which does create a new unit. Not too important because we can shield wall right in his face. I can get you up into their zone of control. And you're flanking as well. You get up on a flank around this guy too. We'll get you up, get rid of you. Perfect. All right, looking good. We've almost got this Bone Horror defeated. He will get to do a bit of damage to us, but it's not the end of the world. We prevented them from getting a lot of value from their ranged units this turn. Yeah, you get this kill. Boom. Step you forward to shoot this guy. He will be flanked. You also get a flanking attack. Excellent. I'll have you zip forward. Drop the rock on these fools. Boom. You get that big AoE strike. Love it. Very, very straightforward battle. That's the thing about the auto-resolver. I don't think the auto-resolver in Age of Wonders 4 is particularly good. We got the Ring of Escaping. Nice. That's a tier 3 ring. And we got a bunch of essence and materials. So let's go ahead and give the hero his new ring. So when his health drops to 0, he will teleport 3 hexes away and gain 15 health. Really powerful. He also has Inspiring Killer and Universal Camouflage. Inspiring Killer gives extra morale when you kill enemies, which is very, very strong. Now, we can unlock some signature skills. We can go for a reflecting rune. So he reflects 20% of the damage sustained by melee attacks and increases his upkeep by 10. And he gets access to the warding aura, so he would give adjacent friendly units 2 resistance. Resistance is what you use to resist magical attacks. It's your magic defense. He'd also get lightning strike, so he would do lightning damage. Okay, I'm intrigued by this. The critical rune is a 15% chance to critical hit. Inspiring Killer is extra morale. Searing Strikes is fire damage. Okay, I don't know if I love that. I do like the idea of the damaging rune. So you'll get the Purging Strikes, which remove positive status effects, and Still as Stone. As long as the hero does not move, he gains a combat defense bonus. I don't know if I love that one. Vitality Rune gives health. Poisonous Strikes and Pack Leader animals. The Guard Rune just gives you +1 to each type of defense, which is a 10% effective health increase. You've got Condemning Strikes, which gives you Zeal. Shield of Faith. Dispelling Rune gives you Soul Draining Strikes and Frost Strikes. I'm going to go with the Damaging Rune. I think the Purging Strikes are pretty good. 15% damage is pretty damn respectable. Now it's a question of, do we want the Animated Hammer to last for the entire battle, gaining 10 hit points, +1 of each defense category, status resistance, or do we want it to have a chance to sunder defense and resistance and do more damage? Like, do we want a more intense period of combat from our animated Warhammer where it does a lot more in a shorter span of time? Or do we want one that sticks around for the whole battle? I actually think that intensifying the period in which the weapon has power is quite an interesting way to play it. So it's still a temporary summon, it just has a really strong period of attack. I don't necessarily think that we need to learn how to hurl boulders. I mean, I think it is a useful and interesting ability. I am kind of intrigued by this disenchanting giving extra binding essence. So I think that's the one that I'm going to go for here, because that leads down a very interesting tree where you get your own special rune of rock infused equipment. And then also you get the Forge Master ability, which allows you to have more infusion points. Kind of super intrigued by that. Okay, we've done most of the exploring in our sort of backyard. So I'm going to send this scout up through these tunnels to try and start digging here. It's kind of annoying when you're one tile away and you just barely can't reach the dig because it delays you by a turn. Stone Skin would give a unit +3 defense, +3 resistance, and spirit weakness. So basically bonus resistance against everything except for spirit. Or we can go for Earthkin. I think we'll go for Earthkin and try to develop our moles into like a rock people. I like that as an idea. It's very exciting to me. Okay, we excavated an area. Let's scoop up that magic and we'll send you to the north. Penguin, I want you to meet Copper Spire. Let's pick up that gold. And now we need to pick a direction that we want to go with our ruler. Going to deal with the aggressive encampment up here to the north might be the way to go. Also, I kind of like the idea of just sticking to the underground and not really messing with the above ground world for a while. I've never really played that kind of a style, so I want to see, like, how does it feel? How does it play? Is it fun? I will send a scout to the other side. Oh, what is this? I see like a... Oh, this looks like it could be some sort of unique area. Oh, I'm very intrigued. Okay, Giants Repose can annex another province. And there is a viable quarry here with an iron deposit, so I'll go ahead and drop that. That will boost the obelisk as well as the blacksmith. I will get the blacksmith. And I would also like to get the tier 2 town hall so we can start getting our tier 2 units. I think halberdiers are going to be particularly useful because remember, the map is filled with large units, and halberdiers, I can't show it to you on this screen, but they have a combat bonus against large units, so I do think getting the town hall up relatively early will be particularly useful. I could boost the mana obelisk, but we're just chilling. We can recruit a new hero. Prospecting governor will make mines better. A scholarly governor will make research posts better. And an industrious governor will make quarries better. I like the idea of either the prospecting governor or the industrious governor, but we do need to think about, do we want a Death Knight? Do we want a Spellblade? Do we want an Imperialist who likes to fight free cities? Or do we want an explorer who likes to find ancient wonders? I think I like the idea of the Spellblade Industrious Governor better. So I'm going to go ahead and take Gerika the Talented, who is a Spellblade, and I'm going to recruit her, yes, her, into my faction. Mines granting +5 mana is really nice. I don't know if we necessarily need to take that just yet, so we'll chill for now. 16 renown on Rockman. We have a battle quest here, so we can help our quest for power. We can lose some Imperium, or we can decline the quest. We will help her out. We've got a quest over here. There's a pretty tough set of creatures to fight. Around about similar combat power as our main stack, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, I definitely want to get her into the position of like exploring some of these things. One thing I do want to get as soon as possible is road building, as that'll allow me to move my armies around a little bit faster. Oh wow, did we find some kind of island up here? That's kind of neat. We have met Copper Spire. These seem to be tunnel diggers. So this is a free city, respectful relations. I will give them a Whispering Stone. They're the initiates of Materium. They are tunnel diggers. We could annex this at some point in the future, although it looks kind of choked, so we might not. We will befriend them at the very least. All right. Ooh, nice food tucked down in the corner there. We've got some ashlands. Yes, I believe we're getting +3 production on this zone, because there's stalagmites here and we are a rock giant king. That is what's happening there, I believe. The stalagmites are getting spread. I love terraforming is one of the parts of the game that I find to be the coolest in these kind of games. I love terraforming. I think it's such a cool concept to actually like shape the map, because in a way it's kind of what people do, right? Ooh, okay. Zythil Silverleaf has greeted me. She's a wizard king of the First Elves. We haven't found her city. She's an authoritarian diplomat, so she likes empires that have a single race. They like empires with a stronger military. They don't like people who make friends with free cities, and they don't like empires that have alliances. They like to make alliances. They don't break treaties. They like to explore, and they like to expand. They are vigilant right now because they think the proximity of our domain is a problem. In terms of our relationship, we're at -110 relations, partially due to alignment being a positive effect, being just person we met, being a negative impact, and their threat level. This is somebody we could probably make an alliance with, so I think I'm going to send them a welcome gift and see if we can negotiate a wizard's bond with them. Now for 115 gold, they would be willing to form a wizard's bond. Now wizard's bonds are really good because it gives us access to new treaties, we reveal each other's throne room, and we can call each other to war, although we don't necessarily have to join each other's war. This should lead to A, me having better knowledge about where they are on the map, and B, being able to minimize the number of enemies I have on the map. Age of Wonders 4 is often about navigating how many people want to kill you. I'm going to grab a basic seafaring in the Empire development tree so that the units that I'm scouting the overworld with can actually maybe have a look at this. I'm noticing a sort of a ward of fate here that we may want to go explore with our leader. Now I definitely know that we want to take out these spiders. Now I'm curious to see if an auto combat will do it. We didn't lose any units, and indeed we got some level up, so I'm going to take that outcome. So we could choose to get a free level on our leader. We can gain the Spirit Breaker aura for Gerika the Talented, which will make enemy units lose morale faster, or we can gain a big bunch of gold. I'm going to grab the level up. Early level ups can be quite powerful, and I'm quite intrigued by the idea here of getting the Rune of Protection, which will give us +1 to both defense categories, and the ability to inflict the Rune of Protection rock to armor. So let's grab that. Very, very intrigued by that. In fact, that might be enough to make me want to make a piece of armor here. Let's have a little look around. So if we put the Rune of Protection on here, it's +2 defense and immunity to bleed. Now this would be a tier 1 item. We need it to be tier 2. We don't necessarily need to be able to ignore enemy status and resistance because we don't inflict status resistance. Maybe having extra status resistance would be really good so that if an enemy tries to apply one to us, it's less likely to happen. Alternatively, just straight up taking less damage. I think status resistance is actually quite good. Now we could forge this shielding plate, and I think we will. That'll take a single turn. We'll probably want to break down some equipment later, but I'm not in a rush. Okay, where are we going next with our armies? I'm really intrigued by this area up here. Honestly, I think there's plenty of room down here underground for this whole city to fit underground. I'm curious, do you turn water into mountains as well? Yeah, I think I'm going to head up here to try and maybe clear this out and explore through that hole. All right, time to send the penguin back to rejoin the armies. Now, we don't want to end our turn inside the red zone because that will provoke the neutrals. There are some city ruins here, which is kind of interesting. If we got over there, we could build a city here. Let's keep excavating the underground. Oh man, I'm really enjoying this kind of underground excavation stuff. I've never done this kind of style of play. Oh, we got a Bandit's Way over here too. That's a ancient wonder that we could clear with our hero that has a ambition to clear ancient wonders. So there's Earthkin. We would like to apply this to our faction. We can't quite afford it yet, and we're going to go for obsidian weapons first. We definitely need to build the monolith. We can also build the builder quarter and the central quarry, but making all that happen is going to be a bit of a trek. So this is a spell blade. Now spell blades are unique, I believe, because melee attacks will give prepared spell, which makes your magic attacks do extra damage, and magic attacks give prepared strike, which make you, so you want to do like magic attack, melee attack, magic attack, melee attack. So the question is, do we want to do fire evocation or do we want to do lightning evocation? Lightning evocation bounces, and fire evocation is an AoE hex that has a chance to inflict burning. This can inflict electrified. Now let's see. This would allow it to deal more damage. This would allow it to, it would become a debuff ability, so it would inflict sundered defense and sundered, okay, inflicting blind. Ooh. Now, on the other hand, if we went for fire evoker, we could get cascading evocation, which allows fire evocation to cascade to adjacent enemy units and repeat. And now it would inflict a guaranteed stack of burning. Wildfire strikes, base attacks deal fire damage and inflict burning. This would lead to melee mage. You can use magic and support abilities while engaged in melee. Arc fire burst. Damn, there's some really powerful ways to play this class. So if we go down the right side of the tree, this is more health based. So melee attacks no longer trigger retaliations. This would allow you to be healthy and ignore retaliations. And then another retaliation attack. You can also get knockback retaliations. Melee retaliation attacks now knock targets back 1 hex. It's kind of interesting if you give this guy a spear so that he has first strike. Basically people run in, try to hit him, and he pokes them back. And he would have charge resistance. I'm kind of intrigued by that path. What can you equip spears? That's the question there. So I'm going to grab Arcane Skirmisher. Do I want to debuff? Do I want to debuff or do I want to do the massive fire cascade? I think I love the idea of the fire cascade. So I think for this Spellblade, we're going to go down the fire evocation side. All right, so we need to cast Obsidian Weaponry. That's going to cost us 17 mana per turn upkeep. We can afford that, but just barely, right? -2 per turn is just barely affording it. We will need to find another source of mana soon. Okay, so we've discovered Trinity Islet, navigating the seas with a distant archipelago in sight. Your troops hear deep voice resonating inside their skulls. Raiders, looters, thieves. So we can gain Imperium, we can gain knowledge, or we can gain mana. Ooh, right now I could actually do with the extra injection of mana. Oh, that's interesting. So there's like 3 places we need to investigate here. We've got a Dark Knight who's like, oh, he's all crystalled up. That is super cool. The Trial of Sin, Wisdom, and Balance. I know where I'm sending my leader. All right, let's keep excavating the underground. You're over here doing a little bit of cursory exploration, making sure we find everything that we can down here. Arcane Research. We can get Steel Fury Chant or Enchanted Crow Companion. I like the idea of getting the Enchanted Crow Companion. You can annex another tile. If I switch this to a conduit, which I need to do because I need a conduit to build the next tier of mana building, the monolith, then I could grab myself another forester elsewhere, or indeed just grab myself another quarry and let that be and then grow to this mana node later. So let's build that quarry then, as that should provide us with a boost to a lot of things. Since we are a physical based faction, we are going to want the archer battlements, not the arcane battlements. We also need to get the tavern because the city is actually struggling with its stability, hurting its income by 10%. 10% isn't that bad. I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's not that bad. It's not crisis. We need to make a move on it now, bad. I would like to get the armory so that we can start recruiting our tier 2 units a little bit faster. So I think I'm going to queue that up. This gives you extra recruitment power, and draft is what you need to recruit units. We have finished crafting the shielding plate. I'm going to take the robes of resonance off and I'm going to give them the shielding plate instead. And then I'm going to start disenchanting things that are in storage. So like these ruined leggings, disenchant. The leather armor, disenchant. Perfect. A bounty has been posted. Zathil has posted a bounty for 200 gold if we kill this small monster down. It was part of our goals anyway, so we're going to take that, and I'm going to redirect my leader once again. It's fine. He'll be there in 4-ish turns. A nice and chill opening series of turns here so far. We found a gold vein over here, which is great. Now, usually they will have a defending unit too. So let's excavate here. Boom. 40. Your orders, sir. Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff in the water here for us to play around with. Very intrigued by this. Okay, Bandit's Way. A lot of stuff we can extract around here, which might mean that this is a good spot for a real colony eventually. There's some extractable land around here that we will continue to dig up. I would like a steel shaper for my army, and I would like to replace all of my anvil guards, or at least I would want one anvil guard and 2 halberdiers is like the ideal setup, plus a steel shaper. So like anvil guard, pikeman, steel shaper, arbalest plus hero. That's like the composition that I find quite powerful. It's what will work towards it. You see, the enemy scout got killed because it was inside the red zone. As long as you stay outside the red zone, the AI doesn't mess with you as much. Actually, I kind of love the idea of rebuilding a city right here, so I'm going to set you to do that, and we'll get you out of there. Can I... No, I can't unlock roads yet, but we're close to being able to unlock roads. You found an iron zone here. Good job. You found... Oh, even more things are being found over here. Lovely. Keep getting the gold and digging. Oh, yes. More excavatable. Found the robe of resistance. I think this is because we're converting all this land to stalagmites or something, which makes it excavatable again. We're going to disenchant this. And I am going to make another one of these shielding plates for my other hero. Cheap and cheerful tier 2 equipment. Ooh, some loot. Nice. I find the exploration in this game, it's surprisingly satisfying and fun. They did a great job with it. It's because there's all these like little goodie huts just laying around for you to fight and find and control, and yeah. Okay, sick. We found a mana node over here. Keep on digging. First, do a little explore over here. Okay, you found a much more open chamber. Keep on digging. What did you find? What is that? This is a knowledge stash. That'll give us a boost of research.
You have discovered.
And we found some lava provinces.
You can annex
so they have lower stability. But there's the Pyre Vault. Ooh, I'm intrigued by the Pyre Vault. Oh, man. We've got some excavatable terrain near the capital again. Let's start casting Enchanted Crow Companion so that our scouts can see further. What have you found? The Fire Hearth Foundry. So it counts as a mine. It makes units cost less to recruit, and we can recruit fire giants. Ooh, that is really cool. We'd love to get that inside our empire if we could. I love how the water and the lava hits here. Listen, developers, if you were able to make it so that there was like a sizzling steam appearing here and like obsidian forming, that'd be so cool. We're not ready to enter a silver thingy just yet. Just exploring the edges of the map. Okay, I'm hoping this guy attacks me next turn so that we can fight them. And then we can clear out this small monster den. It is a bronze infestation spawner, so the rewards won't be like the most amazing. And now we get to choose a new book. And I think, I think there's a few interesting books we can go for. We definitely want a book with a quarry special improvement. So like the Tome of Enchantment could be a good pick here. We'd get Purging Arrows, which would remove enemy positive status effects. Spell Tempered Shields gives us extra resistance. Sundering Blades lowers enemy defense, which is really good. Kind of tempted by that. Alternatively, the Circle of Zealotry is actually pretty good for my faction, alongside the Tome of Zeal. I'm also a really big fan of the Tome of Warding, mostly because Staves of Warding gives bolstered resistance, and then you have Magical Wards, which gives you +2 of all elemental resistance types. And I'm a big fan of Magical Wards. It makes you really hard to kill. And then you've got Mark of Invulnerability. They can make your units invulnerable, all that sort of stuff. Now, the problem is that these are opposed affinities to Materium, so I might just go for the Tome of Enchantment. Sundering Blades is super good, so we'll take it. We completed a shielding plate. Let's give this to our other hero. Garrica the Talented can grab a shielding plate. You can't equip that, and we will disenchant this Robe of Resistance. Now, what was the other thing that we got the talent for? Let me have a look. No, we've only got the Rune of Protection, Rock Infusion. Okay, got it. My capital has nothing to produce, so we want the Mages Guild because we need that mana income. We're going to need to figure out how to get more mana into this city, and I think it's probably going to be a Rune Carver's camp surrounded by quarries that does it. So we will need to think as to where we're going to place that to try and optimize. All right, nice battle. Hopefully an easy auto-resolve. Yep, didn't lose anything. There we go, lovely. Copper Spire is in peril, so we can give them growth, which will hurt us. We can get, man, losing growth for 6 turns is pretty painful. Positive alignment is quite useful, and we don't plan on going on the negative alignment side of things, so we will help them through this famine. Plus, that will actually give them a relationship boost, which should lead us to becoming their suzerain, their liege, a little bit faster. All right, what do we got here? We've got a Marauder Guard that we can go ahead and take on. Should be a pretty safe battle. I don't expect to lose anything. And we got the Lance of Construct Slaying. Oh, man, look at that. That is disgusting. 22 damage, charge strike, cancels defense mode, sunders resistance, does extra damage to constructs. That's amazing. I may disenchant it. I'll take it for now. We defeated this area, which was the quest that we had been given. There's a lot of stuff we can kill around here. A lot of stuff we can clear. All right, let's keep digging. Let's keep digging. I would love to summon a new rock rune stele. I'm going to buy now this monolith, and I'm going to build a rune carver's camp. Probably right here is fine. We need the draft, and we need the mana income from the rune carver's camp. It gives you 15 draft, which allows you to recruit units faster, and then gives you mana for building other quarries. And considering we already benefit a lot from building quarries, this just reinforces the direction of our build more and more. Leather armor is a tier 1, so easily disenchanted. We're probably going to disenchant all of our tier 1s, just as a matter of course. Alright, let's cast the Enchanted Crow Companion so that our scouts can see further, meaning we'll get even more value from them. We could get the Breastplate of the Champion, which is a tier 4, which gives your unit a 20% melee attack bonus and critical hit chance bonus with melee attacks. We don't necessarily need that as far as I'm concerned, but we would like road building. I think that would be a priority for us. Silverleaf has declared a friendship with us, so I think it might be good for us to pronounce them a friend as well. This will cost us 10 gold per turn, which is a significant amount of gold, but it's not the end of the world. Right, good job excavating, good sir. What have you found? You found a production stash. Hell yeah, send that back. And we can continue to excavate around here. Beautiful, a ring of endurance. It's honestly not that good, so we're just going to disenchant it. Although it would have been good. No, he already has a ring, so we don't need that. We need these bag items. Speaking of which, can we craft a bag item for him? We could make him a Horn of Truth site. It isn't particularly good, so I don't love the idea. Gerika the Talented loves clearing ruins, so I might give her control of the main army and let her fight these battles on her own so she can grab some experience. And that's a lot of losses. Let's try that again. The harder the battle is, in terms of a ratio of the combat capabilities of your army and the enemy army, the more experience you get for fighting it. So that's why we would want to do something like this. The 66% chance of burning in all of them on the first turn of battle is fantastic. Now all we need to do is make sure we get up here and defensive tactics our way to victory. Perfect. Let's see how they retaliate. They should take a little bit of burning damage. They'll heal and do all this stuff. Okay, what are you? You're a Troll King. 60% chance to break his retaliation attack. Perfect. Can you step up here and taunt this guy? Shoot him. That's a lovely kill. I'm going to cancel this guy's retaliation so my penguin can step forward and get a nibble on him. We'll move this guy around the side into a flanking position. Now he'll do a decent chunk of damage to us, but he is in melee, which means... Ooh, did he stun us? I think he did. So I need to be careful of this Butcher Ogre because of his Butcher ability. I am happy to put this guy into zone of control so he has to move. Yeah, we need to cancel the retaliation on the Butcher Ogre so that we can get a kill. Now, if you were to run up, you would do some damage. You would do some damage. If you fire Revoke, you'll damage all of our guys. Get an 80% chance to cancel his retaliation. Perfect. So now we can step up and do 14 damage to him. No problem. Now we do have a big problem is that if this guy runs up and if they both hit my penguin, the penguin's going to die. So I need to give the penguin bolstered defense so that they can't quite kill him together. Keep that penguin alive. Now they might be able to get this warrior. And they got him with a frozen attack. Let's bolster him. Flank this dude. Overdraw. Bam. Melee strike 3 times. Okay, we're chewing away at him. These units getting frozen really suck, so we're likely to lose one. Probably going to be this guy. Oof. Oh, Jesus. This guy needs to die so bad. Alright, this was just a particularly hard fight is all. Go ahead and taunt this guy. Yeah, the taunt did not work. Cancel his retaliation so that this archer can retreat. He's got a good flank. Don't let him escape. We're out of mana. Not much we can do about that, but that's life. Yeah, he's going to take that damage to come forward. Let's hit him with the overdraw. Boom. Nip forward with you. Take the shot. Ooh, did not hit. Get a good flank on him on each side. There, okay. So there's not much he's going to be able to do now. All right, that was a painful battle. I could probably do better, but I think I just was overzealous in the number of units that I sent in, and I should have brought my ruler in. These are not particularly important units to not lose, so it's fine. Tier 2 heavy crossbow. Let's disenchant that bad boy. It's just a little unlucky. Does she have to be the leader? We can actually find that out. We can do science. There is a penalty applied to heroes being in the same stack now, isn't there? Hold on. I thought that was a thing. Maybe it's not a thing? How do you guys feel about me? Pact of Loyalty should allow me to go. I can't enter your territory right now, can I? Oh, I can. You guys are chill. Okay. Our first steel shaper is completed. We can start road building up here, allowing us to get reinforcements in faster. We'll want a pair of halberdiers. Let's get the archer battlement. We don't want to build the caltrop stash because it's not boosted. We will build the builder's quarters and the central quarry in here. Keep the city pumping. It's up to 91 production per turn, which is great. And we found a landmark. So where is that? I don't see it right now. So let's keep on digging. We have Gneisen, the city of Gneisen. I'm going to give Gerika the Talented the governorship of this city. I'm going to park in this city for a turn to heal up before we move on. Again, I think the workers' farmstead is one of the first things you're going to want to build. That little bit of a trickle of food really helps a lot to get your city kickstarted in terms of growth. And I'll use my steel shaper to make a nice road up here to Nyson. Yes, keep on excavating. Found a barbed shield. It's actually a tier 2 that bleeds on attack, so I think I will keep that. That's not terrible. Right, what have you found? Ooh, Dragon's Dusk. Provinces adjacent to this landmark gain +5 gold. Ancient Draconic Frenzy, combat enchantment. Ooh, all dragon units gain frenzy until the end of combat. And a city with 3 provinces adjacent to this landmark gain recruitment of tier 4 and 5 dragon units. Damn, that is so cool. This is one of those new tiles. That is awesome. That is sick as hell. Told you, dude, this game just keeps getting better and better. Everything they put into it is an improvement. We're going to need another Anvil Guard. We actually do need to recruit a pretty sizable army. Special province improvements giving +5 gold is really nice because we're in the process of starting to build those in my capital. Sadly, the population growth in there is blocked. We've got a Pact of Loyalty with Copper Spire. They share its vision. They allow building unclaimed provinces. They give us Rally of Lieges. And we will be able to improve the vassalage amount over time. One thing that annoys me about the Underground, and I hope if a developer is watching this, like this would be something I would love to give you feedback about, is you see this like uninhabitable thing. Like it really frustrates me that there's a bunch of really cool resources through here, but I can't, like if I were to annex Copper Spire, I don't feel like I would be able to connect them to the city ever. But I also, because there's 3 resources in here, if I were to build an outpost, I would probably build it on the gold vein, so the outpost is free to maintain, but then I can't reach the mana node, which is frustrating, right? Unless I were to build it on the mana node and I built a gold mine here and then it would be kind of free to maintain. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's a small thing, but it is annoying, you know? And it doesn't have to be that way. So we could build a central quarry. I don't know if we necessarily want to. Not at the current status of the city. I'm going to start working on the stonemason, the Masonic Hall, all that stuff, holding on to our Imperium. So Gerika could become a glory seeker or a collector. Oh, what does a collector do again? Oh yeah, we'll just make you a collector. That's just so much better. Then I don't have to worry about trying to get you to clear these, and I can just clear them without any mental damage. Boom. 4 experience earned on every unit. That's lovely. A little bit of ashlands going on around here. We'll want to kind of maybe see if we can do something about that. We did excavate a battlefield remains. Okay, this gives me draft and an item. Some of these you want to be careful about stepping on because they'll level your units up, and you want to make sure you step on that with a full stack of good units. All right, good job. Keep excavating. Oh wow, we found like a horrifying haunted lava place. I love the diversity of the different biomes in this game. Like, it's so cool. It is one of the coolest parts of the game, aesthetically at least. Let's excavate here. Demoralizing Mask. Melee attackers could gain Remorse, which lowers their morale every turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and disenchant that because we're not particularly morale inclined. It's not something we're going out of our way to play around. There's another Arbalest. We're in the process of building our second stack. A hero has leveled up, and this is Gerika the Talented. So I think we would like to get Cascading Evocation, because that's a really powerful ability for her. We have unlocked an extra Whispering Stone. We have no use for it right now, so we're not going to bother. An Astral Eclipse has come, so mana will be reduced, however, and spells will cost more to use. That's actually kind of bad for us as we're about to go into the Bandit's Way. We will be fighting some ogres, if I recall correctly. We can gain alignment, however, traps will be hidden. We can do a Materium check. We have a 90% chance to pass it, so statistically, we should never fail. All right, that's how that works. 90% is basically 100%. All right, so the auto combat should be pretty dire. Actually, not entirely terrible, but I would like to win this battle without losing a unit. That's just how I like to roll. I don't like losing units, man. It's just who I am. It's how I am. It's what I like to do. All right, so what are we up against? We have an Aspirant Knight. It's a tier 2. It's a tier 2 with charge strike, so he'll be able to disable our defensive mode. We've got a defender on a horseback. We've got a warrior hero with a charge strike. So defense mode, exposed shield units are going to be pretty vulnerable to this army. We've also got a healing bannerman and a couple of archers. One being a longbow with a long shot to sunder defense. So really important in this battle is going to be keeping at least one of my shield units hidden from the charge units here. Now I'm kind of intrigued by the idea that what if I ran all the way forward and just did a fat fire evocation on these guys and just bam, 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 and just scorched the heck out of them. And then if I ran forward with my leader and I dropped a hammer on their heads and hit him with the Tremor melee charge, getting us off to an incredibly powerful kickstart to this battle with an opening salvo of moves. Yeah, put all my units into defense mode. Let's see how they respond. Now, hopefully they'll put a lot of energy into trying to kill my hammer. And it's a summon, so we don't necessarily care if it dies. Now, we probably could have got more value out of that unit if we'd used it more carefully. I'm going to give you bolstering defense. Oh, we could get a flank attack on you for 26 damage. That is disgusting. And another flanked obelisk drop. You zip forward, bolster, you zip forward, give him the old zip and the bip. Can you zip up here? Now you are bleeding, but that's fine. Come on, get that hit. All right, we killed the enemy hero. That's perfect. Now that is an amazing opening series of moves, I gotta say. Like getting the offensive strike and killing the enemy hero really early into the battle is really good. We can overdraw. Who is more important to kill? Let's have a think about that. So you do 10 damage, you do 9 damage. Probably more important to kill the charging unit, or do I ignore that and go straight for their back line? In particular, this archer is actually pretty vulnerable, especially if I drop a rock on his head and then pop him with my guy. And then if I move you up here to be beside these bannermen, they either have to take the hit or run. You overdraw. That will allow this guy to break the zone of control to come up here and catch them off guard. You could overdraw this guy, give him a even worse bleed. So we've got 3 stacks of bleed and a stack of burning. And then we could kick him with my giant. Bam. He should die at the end of this turn no matter what with that level of health. Okay, the howl is rough. That's okay though. Yeah, look at that. That is beautiful. So he died as a result of his wounds. Unfortunately, we don't have an overdraw. We can kill you. Get up there and melee strike twice. That's him practically dealt with. Can you give him a slow and a bleed? Yes. Can you provoke him? And with the unit that has more health, we'll take the retaliation attack. You come back to here and shoot him for some damage. And now he can't reach us. Perfect. Okay, that worked out exactly as I was hoping. And in fact, he might even be ready to flee. All right, overdraw into his back. Boom. And then overdraw into his back again. And then honestly, just a quick tap on the booty and he should be dead. And then a quick tap on this archer and he should be dead as well. Amazing. Okay, Ruthless Band of Flanking. Begin extra combat strength when flanking. It's a tier 2 ring. We will be taking that reward. It's actually pretty okay. We can allow our soldiers to loot, giving them morale. We can claim the loot for the Empire. Or we get Vassal the Viper into our army. I think we just claimed the loot for the Empire here. So Bandit's Way is claimed. We're going to want to grow to it pretty quick. This gives +2 knowledge per quarry in the city domain, which is very useful for an underground quarry-based faction. We got a magic problem. It's a real problem. Let's cube the shrine and we'll rush it in the city to get the extra mana per turn. We need it. We'll attract a population and drop a conduit on these focus crystals to get the money and mana. Buy us a turn. All right, good job excavating. Keep on doing. Dig it all up. I'm very happy with the outcome in that bandit doodad. Let's go for the Steel Fury chant. I think it's quite useful. It converts your bolstered defense into strengthened. We're going to chill here for a heal. And then you have some excavating till finding. Ooh, a watchtower. Yes. Army has disembarked. We found a watchtower. We found some land we can excavate. Some rocky mountainous terrain. We've got Bandit's Way. Beautiful. Love this island. Very cool. I'm very intrigued by a lot of the stuff going on here. I think we need to do a little bit more excavation. First pikeman is finished. There's Sundering Blades. Now we haven't been able to actually cast those yet, and they are something we want to cast. I would like to build the Masonic Hall. It's 20 production, which we can convert into other things. Mainly merchandise. We get 25% of our production to gold, which is really strong. I think I'm going to grab myself a tavern for the 20 stability income. We kind of need it. We have access to focus crystals now. Focus crystals will allow us to get ranged retaliations, redirecting damage. All of our units will gain experience as well. So that is really nice. We need to find some Arcanium ore. I think there's some Arcanium ore here. And then we want to find Fireforged stone. And I think I saw some Fireforged stone over here, I want to say. No, that's a focus crystal. But yeah, we'll want to get all 3 of those so we can get the Rings of Bindings, which will give all of our heroes 10% extra HP, which is what this is, effective HP, and a 10% bonus damage. Now, my ruler has leveled up. We can get the Rune of Creation Rock, which would allow us to conjure stone walls, or we could get the Rune of Command Rock, which would allow us to get a trinket that would allow all of our non-hero units in the army to deal 10% extra damage. I really like that. I'm going to go ahead and immediately craft one of those. So Rune of Command It needs to be tier 2 to fulfill my mission. And I'll just put True Sight on it. So it's a True Seeing Bell, crafted in a turn. I know I'm low on mana, it's fine. Gerika the Talented has reached level 4. They can become a initiative Materium, and so they shall. All attacks gain a 90% base chance of inflicting burning. Yes, let's take it. We got Poppy the Brave's remains. I'm just going to go ahead and sell her. Zaythil Silverleaf wants to sell us the contact information for the Veil Striders. I'm going to decline. I'm not particularly... I don't find it particularly important for me to have that contact information. Okay, we found another mana node down here to the south. Not a whole lot for us to excavate, but that's fine. That is part of the process in Age of Wonders 4. Some turns are going to be feast, some turns are going to be famine. A lot of production to be had here. Okay, we're just barely above our mana situation. Now, these guys are willing to flee. Begone, gentle giants. I kind of want to have a positive, as a tier 1 lance will disenchant it. I kind of want to have a positive alignment this run. Can we clear this without losing anything? Yeah, we didn't lose a thing. That's perfect. We got padded plate. This is tier 1, disenchant. I love that we get extra resources for disenchanting. I think that's a really fun way to play. Excavate here, fiery wake boots. These are tier 2 legs. This would actually be really thematic for Gerika the Talented, because she is kind of a fire, a lot of her stuff does fire stuff. So I'm kind of interested in giving her like maybe a flaming hammer at some point. It'll take me some time. Have you actually ranked up? No, you have not. We need to fully equip you with tier 2 items. So we'll give you the True Seeing Bell. Oh, I accidentally placed it over the Wand of Provocation. It's fine. Okay, we met Perpetual Cialred. This is the new crystal faction. So Cialred has welcomed us. We share ancient kinship, although our paths diverged aeons ago. You've heard of elder giants who turned themselves to crystal, preserved not just themselves, but also their lore. We, scholars of the cosmos, keenly note your mobility, giant, not out of envy, but out of utility. Like our Cialrith sentinels, our wisdom can guide you to erudition. The stone-faced entity's voice is monotonous, yet not without hopeful tone. So we can offer aid. Okay, let's offer their aid. The eternal thirst for knowledge. The Eternal Sage greets you from within their crystalline library within Cialred. Welcome, Giant King Rockman Crushstone. Nelnail hums. We predicted your interest in helping us. Curiosity and ambition define most God-ear, which makes you valuable allies in our pursuit of knowledge. We chronicle and collect all there is to know of the cosmos. As we cannot leave Cialred, you possess the power to retrieve what we cannot procure ourselves. The Eternal Sage concludes. Will you lend us your aid in this quest for wisdom? Okay. So I will get a stone pact. Oh. So I can ask them for a quest. I can ask them for a challenging quest. I can share some of my knowledge. I can offer them an item. I can pay them mana, or I can leave them for now. I think I'm going to ask them for a regular quest, just so that we can explore. So they want me to forge an item, the Freezing Fold. Long have we kept the fragments of a freezing fold, a relic from long ago. Its powers is chronicled in legends. Despite their monotone voice, there is a hint of embarrassment in the words of the Eternal Sages. Alas, we could not repair the item ourselves. We understand you control an item forge. Would you be able to reforge the freezing fold? Okay, so I need to forge a freezing fold. Now, I assume it's going to be in my blueprints. So this is it right here. This is a Rune of Protection Frost. So let's forge it. So we forge the freezing fold. We can keep it and anger them, or we can give it to them and gain the allegiance, which will give us a stone pact. Okay. So where are they? Okay, they're over here. Cialred. Oh man, look at their units. Whoa, that is so cool. They have crystal horses. Geomantic crystallization. That is so cool. The Litharine core. That is so cool. So we have a stone pact. So you start out neutral, which means you can get Litharine core and crystal runners through trade. So the crystal, oh, we can trade mana. Oh shoot, we're going to need to increase our mana income. There is so much cool stuff in here. The Gold Seeker's Pickaxe. These items can only be bought once. A ranged unit with a ranged attack that applies volatile charge. Litharite Scroll. Crystalline Knowledge, Eternal. Gives you +1 of every affinity. That is so interesting. I love that we can buy a crystal horse. That is sick. So each pact will reinforce combat against marauders and rulers in the dwelling it's war with. Shares its vision. Substantial knowledge boon. I am very curious about befriending them. That is so awesome. Alright, we found the Helm of the Warrior. It's a tier 2. Plus 10% melee attack damage. Disenchant. Okay, we want to build the Grand Mill in here. Again, that kickstarts that growth of this city to get those 2 food buildings. We got the tavern building in Giant's Repose, which will help the city no longer have negative happiness. We could also build the bathhouse as a buffer against future negative stability. It wouldn't necessarily it would put us up slightly above positive stability, which is a minor buff, but mostly you want this to sort of be a bulwark against negative stability. And we did get a Fireforge stone, so we just need an Arcanium ore. I don't even know how we got that. I don't even know how we got the Fireforge stone. Did we get it from you, Copper Spire? Yes, dude. Oh my god, we're crafting so many items. Okay, these guys are our vassals, and the vassalage will improve over time, and they will give us more resources. That's excellent. I was complimented. Thank you so much. The map is starting to develop in a very interesting fashion. Okay, where is next? Well, I think the big thing I would like to do, take you with the Steel Shaper, one of these and one of these, send you this way, send my scout over there, and then we'll group you up with these guys. Where do we want to send you? Probably down here to clear some of these things to the southeast. Let's get ourselves another arbalest. We met neutral Insal Tour. Surely meet each other again in the future. Aegis, the tier 2 secondary. It's a shield. Yeah, nothing too special, so we'll just disenchant it. Tour is over here. I can't tell if anyone else is befriending them. We could befriend them. It's worthy of oh, it's like blue crystals down here. I am super intrigued by that. Now that is fascinating. I gotta say, man, there's so much going on in this new DLC. Like it feels like an expansion to the game. Okay, Steel Fury chant is completed. Let's start researching purging arrows. I'm gonna cast another one of these rock rune steles, because I'm going to want one in Gneissen to make sure that all of its local provinces are converted. Giant's Repose can annex another tile. There is an iron deposit over here. We do need food, like pretty badly. I need to set up a food area. I need 2 farms to be able to get the estate hall. Minimum 2 farms. On the other hand, if I put a quarry here, we could build another unique quarry right there and go crazy with our insane triangle of quarries, you know, all buffing each other. Rockman Crushed Stone has reached renown level 2, so city structures will cost 20% less gold, and his army has +5 morale, meaning they'll hit higher tiers of morale faster in battle and will not fall to lower tiers of morale as fast in battle. And so we'll be less likely to fumble and more likely to critical strike on average. It's not going to make a highly visible big difference, but it will be a difference. I'm going to send a scout up through here, and there is an astral rift that we might want to have a think about clearing. There's also a contender's ruin here. The nice thing is that this contender ruin is actually pretty close to Gneissen, so we could get it inside the city pretty quick, and then we would be getting 2 knowledge per quarry in a city that wants to build a lot of quarries. I want to stay outside of the red zone so we don't get ganked. Okay, we excavated over here. We didn't really find anything. Let's keep on, keep exploring. Just keep digging. I am really curious as to what's under this. So let's dig through this blue stuff. I have no idea what's going to be revealed. Alrighty, let's go ahead and excavate. A little bit of gold found. Province improvements grant +1 stability for each adjacent province of the same type, and a 2,000 gold injection. Better vision range is actually quite useful, so I'm going to grab that now. Having better sensing and vision range is super useful for revealing the map a little bit quicker. Our vassalage pact has increased here, so we're getting more yield from Copper Spire. We may eventually wish to annex them, but for now I think we're just chilling. Alright, so we excavated here, didn't really find anything too interesting. And we excavated down here. Oh, we found like a frosty area. Okay, so this is ice, snow, and stalagmite. So excavate there. There's 78 gold. And then dig out this zone. You are waiting a turn for a recruitment to go through, and you are joining up forces with this guy so they can enter up to the above ground and start making your way down here so we can break the seal of the Ward of Fates down here and explore that. Oh, there's some sort of magic in the fog of war. Ooh, Glutton's Fane. Alright, Giant's Repose has built a bathhouse. It's working on the quarry. I could use the extra gold from the market, so I will build a market soon. Gneissen can annex another province. It would be nice to grow towards Bandit's Way. I'll grab myself a farm, because that will actually boost the vendor and the workshop, and I'll put those to the front of the queue. And I'm ready to summon a rune stele. I'm going to summon it in the... Oops, sorry, misclicked. I'm going to summon it in Gneissen itself so that we can make sure all of the tiles within 2 tiles of this will have the stalagmites, which will give us a small benefit. They do cost 5 mana per turn to maintain. We can't afford to recruit another hero, although we do have the capacity to recruit another hero. Oh, dude. Okay. Oh, we're going to get attacked here. Okay, Wisps are actually some of the most dangerous units in the entire game, so I would fully expect us to lose units in the auto-resolve. And I don't fully expect us to be able to win this battle without losses. And the reason Wisps are so dangerous is because if you attack them in melee, they stun you. And they do all magic channels of damage. Or to put that another way, there is no way to resist their attacks because they do every, you know, like you need to have magic resistance, which actually makes this Steel Shaper a very important part of this battle because his defense mode, okay, the Astral Siphoner is, I'm trying to think about threats on the board and how do we want to deal with the threats. Astral Refuge would make this unit, this is a scary unit for our backline. So I think damaging him on this turn is a good idea. I don't know if they can reach us. I think they can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my resistance guy in the center to provide warding, which will give us an extra 20% resistance to all channels of magic. And we're going to wait a turn to see, give them the next move. I'm going to move you forward 2 tiles, and I'm going to create a animated Warhammer behind these guys so that you zone control them. You have a chance to get Astral Membraned, but that's okay. Yep, he was stunned, so remember that that's always a possibility. Make sure we position our units very carefully to maximize the benefit from this. Rock Blast this guy so he's down to a single, and then defensive mode on everyone so that we just have the total highest amount of defense that we can get. So even if they focus fire too much, yeah, look at these little lasers, dude. They just do so much. And this unit is stunned. It won't be able to act. It's a nightmare to fight these wisps. We're going to drop the rock on this guy's head, keep our units in defense mode. The big thing that the mole people have right now is that we do benefit a lot from being in defense mode from our faction. And our ruler has a ranged attack. But yeah, look at that. They're just chipping away at him. Can you overdraw? Good hit. I need to rearrange my army. Get a stomp on this guy. There's a good chance my units get stunned when they attack here. But they are within the magic resistance sphere. So they currently have, at a minimum, a 50% damage decrease, which means these guys won't do quite as much damage as they will on paper. We're still likely to lose a unit because of their focus fire capability, but it's not as bad as it could be. All right, I need you to get this kill and not get stunned. That's devastating. All right, I need you to get this kill. That's devastating. I need you to taunt here. I'm going to have to break ranks with my leader to drop the rock on these guys to stand in their way of shooting my other dude. There's not that much healing. I need you to kill him. That's so bad. All right, we lose the spearman. It's painful. Get that kill right there. Critical chance. Good. Get that kill right there. Once you have them on the run, they're not that hard to deal with. But you can see what I'm talking about. When they focus fire down a unit, because they sunder resistance, they're like machine gun. They just rip your damage apart. And they do so much work. It's what makes them so difficult to deal with. The great news is my giant breaks cover, and they are vulnerable to being inside zone of control against units in defense mode because they have to step and take a hit. Even though that does force a stun check on your unit, it at least minimizes, it lowers their effective attacks from 3 to 2, which is, when you're dealing with a unit with 3 attacks, really useful. All right, but I think we managed to get it under control, and we only lost 1 unit compared to the auto-resolve, and that was because we got some pretty bad luck on killing the Astral Siphoner, which is also an incredibly dangerous unit. But I gotta say, considering the level of difficulty of this Marauder Guard, having this as our outcome is not all that bad. And the stars are reignited 1 by 1. The Astral Eclipse has come to an end, so we're no longer taking that huge penalty. I'm wondering if we can clear this without any losses. But that just goes to show you just how big of a difference it was for some of these things. We are going to need a new spearman. We'll need to clear this Astral Rift. They have a goddamn lost wizard. These things are terrifying. Imagine if a Wisp was a tier 5 unit, okay? Wisp is a tier 1 unit. Think of how dangerous this little thing is, right? It does 9 damage and sunders your resistance, meaning every time it successfully reduces your resistance, it does 10% more damage to you. Or basically, you take like 11% more damage, the way the math works out, every time this thing successfully sunders your resistance. Now imagine if there was one of these things that was souped up to be a tier 5 unit, so that it did 7 attack per shot, and it could cast basically slew of completely random and extremely powerful battlefield affecting magic. That's what we're dealing with this Astral Rift right there. Right, the excavation is going pretty well down here, so we'll dig up here. There's 43, and we will dig right there. This little scout is finding things. Good job. I'm going to go clear this NPC guard. Hopefully an easy auto combat. Nice. Pike of the Assassin. This was what we were looking for. Give you. We wanted you to have a pike. So let me give you that. And then I want to go to you. Give you the wand. No, it did the thing again where it placed it over this other thing. Damn it. We don't need the maximum infusion points right now, as far as I'm concerned. I think I'm going to go down the ritualist tree now so that we can start getting things like conjuring astral wards. I like my giant king being a conjurer. Lovely. We found a new area that we can excavate up here. That's beautiful. We're continuing to dig down through here. Nice and got its workshop. You're continuously working on stuff. I'm not going to recruit units right now because we're low on resources. Gerika the Talented has leveled up. I think we could go for Wildfire Strikes. I do like the idea of adding burning to her attacks. Can't afford a hero right now, so we'll just hold off on that. Can't afford to do this. Would love to recruit like bronze golems and stuff. It's not on the cards. All right, we excavated this area. Let us continue. Found an iron deposit and yet more things to dig on boost and continue to excavate. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yes, 80 gold. That's beautiful. In fact, I can recruit another hero now. Let's see. Arcane Governor. He's a crusader who loves slaying undead. Industrious Governor, who's a lawbringer who loves clearing infestations. Specialist Governor. Makes special province improvements better. Prospector. These are the Dark Fae. I don't know if I would prefer to have the Tunnel Diggers on my side, honestly. I might prefer to have the Tunnel Diggers. I don't think I've gotten a Death Knight before, have I? What are the heroes that I have right now? I think I have a Spellblade, and a Ritualist. So let's recruit a Death Knight. I think that's kind of an interesting and exciting idea. Now, he's an Imperialist, so he loves fighting free cities, but we'll be able to change that, I think. So let's recruit you. Let's have a look at your skill tree. Okay, so you've got Mortal Champion, you've got Death Knight. So you're Knight, Frenzy, Curse, Initiative Materium. Oh, very interesting. Undying Warrior. This guy's going to be very hard to kill in battle. I would prefer to reset his skills, though. I'm going to reset his skills, and that's because for Mortal Champions, I often find it really useful to go for Foraging training and upkeep reductions. You will be Initiative Materium, though. So Foraging training, Endurance training, and then because we gave them extra health, we will also give them extra defense. Defensive Formation, very powerful when combined with Defensive Tactics, and then we will go with Experienced Leader. But I'm not going to bother getting Champion of Perseverance. I don't think that's particularly useful, but logistics training means we could have a stack of units that just don't cost that much. So this guy is a fantastic army leader. The question is, what kind of units do we want in here? Let's cast Sundering Blade before we start increasing the size of our armies. We also need to get Earthkin, at least before we start increasing them too much. Another watchtower for us to explore and a Pantheon shrine. That's good. Giant's Repose is ready to build. I might just get you to produce merchandise for a round of turns, so that we can have a really strong gold income and start building up Nyson instead. Trade proposal, I don't need that contact information, I'm afraid. It's just not worth anything to me. All right, we're crossing into the water so we can go ahead and take on the Storm Giant, like the first trial. Uninhabitable Mountains. Looks like it has like weird crystal ruins. It's so fascinating. All right, good job. You found a gold vein. Continue digging down here, good sir. I'm really enjoying the process of digging up and revealing the map. Now, am I going to send a second hero up here? I think I am. I think this is going to need the help. And the Contender's Ruins here, we probably want to try to clear it as well next turn. So what kind of units does this guy want? I think I might just give him like a couple Anvil Guards, a couple Arbalists, and a Steel Shaper, and that'll be the army that he gets. I think that's actually not a bad army. Cloud in a Bottle. Oh, it's a tier 1. So sad. I was really hoping for another tier 2. Can I finally undo the mistakes of the past and give you the True Seeing Bell? I'm getting tired of this guy not having completed his ambition, so I'm just going to make him an Enraging Charm so that he can fulfill his Renown ambition. Okay, as far as I can tell, we've pretty much discovered everything there is to find around here. We've got Purging Arrows. That's going to be next to 10% damage to magic origin units and the ability to remove positive status effects from our enemies. Awakened Tools, Stone Skin. Gargoyles are not terrible, and we do have a lack of shock units in our army. They are a tier 2 magic-based unit, so I will start the recruitment of them. They're not my favorite because they do cost magic. Oh, here we go. Bandit's Way. Boom. So we grab this. Bandit's Way. It counts as a research outpost. It'll give us 5 Imperium per turn, plus 20 draft. It'll cost us a little bit of happiness, but it gives us +2 knowledge per quarry in the domain, as well as the ability to recruit brewer ogres and butcher ogres. Alright, Sundering Blades is going to cost us 10 mana upkeep, but it will give all of our units the ability to sunder enemy defense, meaning our physical damage will start to go through the roof. This basically turns my entire army into those astral wisps, but for physical damage, which is incredible. It feels amazing. Very, very fun aspect of playing a Materium Affinity faction. Okay, we got the Shop of Secrets. An advisor reports that a mystical seer set up shop southwest of Giant's Repose, offering knowledge of faraway territories and rulers. We could expect... Oh, okay, let's have a look. So he set up here, and for 15 turns I can buy things from... Oh, that is so cool! So let's see. Oh, you can reveal the whole map for 700 mana. We can reveal a throned city. We can contact a hidden ruler, reveal a ruler location. We can gain 400 knowledge or gain 200 knowledge. That is really... I can attack the shopkeeper. That's kind of amazing. I love that. This reminds me of another game that I played where you could attack the shopkeeper. That's a really cool idea. Very, very cool. Big fan of that. Okay, let's clear this Contender's Ruin. This should, in theory, be a fairly straightforward auto combat. Okay, it wasn't. According to this, I should be able to fight. I should be able to get a better result than the auto resolver, in theory. Okay, we've got 1 electric Howl Cavalry, 1 charge Howl Cavalry with an AoE swipe, and then 1 Spirit Blaster, but they don't really have much in the way of healing. So as long as we play carefully, let me undo that move actually. Put you right there in defensive stance. You right behind him, right here, defensive stance. And then a gang of archers all huddling around this rock formation. A question about this Lesser Stone Spirit actually, does it evolve? Yes, it can evolve into a exalted tier 3 Stone Spirit, and that is exciting. Right, so a little bit of a hit, that's fine. That's what we expected. 8 damage, or do we want to give him the pokes? Might give him the pokes. Okay, let's cancel his retaliation and give him bleed. Perfect. We want to cancel this guy's retaliation as well if we can. Perfect. Although he resisted it, unfortunately. Let's hit you. Bam. Okay, hopefully we can get this killed. Not quite. Can I rock drop you to get the kill? Yes. Perfect. Now let me see the damage that would be dished out. The counter damage is really high unless I taunt here. So I will taunt. The counter damage will be reduced somewhat. Alright, so we won't take too much in the way of damage from this guy. That's fine. We'll drop a nice heal on him. A heal. 60% chance to cancel his retaliation. You shot our own guy in the back. I need to cancel that retaliation. Thank you. Then we'll step up and shoot him. And then we want to flank poke him. Perfect. And then we want to double catch him in the control. So when he steps out, he'll take 2 retaliation attacks. He won't take that much damage. It's fine. Burn him alive. Keep on going. Big rock slap. Bonk. And a bonk. He should just defense mode because he's broken now. Can you actually reach him? If you shoot my own guy in the back. Nailed him. I was so worried. Yeah, that's a better outcome. It's not a perfect outcome. Oh, wow. We got 3 wolf mounts and an accurate crown. The crown is actually pretty good. I'm going to take all that. So we can gain some money. We can gain some draft. Or we can gain a champion. I'm going to take some gold. All right, you guys will heal up while stationed there. That's perfect. And now we want to go face this fate, this twist of fate, whatever this is. All right, come here, excavate, prospect that province production. Oh, lovely. We found even more mountains to prospect. Found some leather army. We will disenchant that. That's fine. And we can go ahead and prospect right. This is why you want to have I think 4 scouts is a good number. You can go higher. You can go higher, but I think 4 feels like a good balance of like, I have a lot of dudes out on the map, I'm revealing things quickly, but I'm also not paying like an insane upkeep cost for a massive number of scouts. So Giant's Repose can annex another province. We absolutely, oh my god, I forgot to clear this. That's really bad. That's so bad. Well, good thing I'm recruiting an army. So I'm going to build a quarry here because my quarries are incredibly valuable when positioned near my series of quarries here. I'm going to go for the extra stability for adjacent improvements of the same type. That's going to help the city stay really high on its stability, getting even more production. We should probably build our wizard foundation. Now that I'm thinking of it, this will actually give us a boost to Imperium. And Imperium is one of those currencies that, like, you know, you never can have enough of it. All right, have you fulfilled your ambition? Fully equipped with tier 2 items. I need an obelisk. Can I craft obli? Yes I can. Okay. We've given it 10% critical hit chance and 20% critical hit damage, and also inflicts bleed. I could take the bleed out, but then I wouldn't do quite as much damage. So let's inflict the bleed. We'll forge that. That's the last thing that we need, I think. Good job. job. Gerika, the talented, has reached level 2, so quarries now give stability in her city. And we gathered some remains. I'm just going to sell those for money right now. I love money. Nison's production is ready. Let's make sure we build our defenses. It's always good to have fortifications, because the city has 0 fortifications right now, so if somebody walked in here, they would just like instantly pop that city like a little piñata. Area excavated. Oh yes, give me that production, sir. All right, I'm curious about this. So, the trial of balance. Astounded by the huge crystal encapsulating a storm giant, your troops hear the deep resonating voice return. Alas, this is what the progeny of giant kin has become. Uncivilized brutes eager to steal their own heritage. The voice falters for a moment as if lost in thought. Then it continues. The giant clans accuse the haste folk of suppression, yet they themselves stoke hatred against the smaller kin, invoking a vision of Myrida that never existed. An army of the Storm Clan spawns to attack me. I can lose Imperium to answer the trial of balance. I can lose Science to answer it. Oh, both. Mercy is a gift granted by true kings. That is the truth. I wish to do the trial of, I don't know which trial this is, but I have answered one of the many trials. All right. Oh, it's time for us to pick a tier 2 book. And how I like to do my Age of Wonders series, I always like to pick the new book, right? We've got the Tome of the Dungeon Depth. Build a grand dungeon underground. Fill it with structures that will enrich you and protect it with eternal clay, soldiers, and traps. We get the Clay Forge, +5 production per adjacent dungeon province. +5 draft per adjacent dungeon province. This is a special province improvement and allows the drafting of clay arbalests, clay chargers, and clay defenders, and counts as a quarry. Ooh. Then we've got the Underground Vault, which is a special province improvement. It gives gold per adjacent dungeon province, and it gives binding essence per adjacent dungeon province, counts as a mine, must be built in the underground. This also must be built in the underground. I actually didn't know that this book existed. Then you've got the Silent Barracks. This is a special province improvement. Fortification health per adjacent dungeon province, city stability per adjacent dungeon province, clay arbalest, clay charger, and a clay defender joins combat on your side when fighting in the city's domain, does not function on water or lava, counts as a quarry. Oh wow. Raiders of the Deep. This is a skill. It's a unit enchantment. All of your units gain cave walk. This looks like pretty much every unit category. They gain cave walk, so they move faster through the underground. They gain defense and resistance while underground. And while they're above ground, they deal extra damage. Oh man, I had no idea. Dude, I didn't know that this existed. I can't believe I accidentally picked the best way to play to try out the new content. I literally did not mean to do this. Dungeon Hazard. That actually feels incredible. When you find a book that just synergizes with your build, it's like, mwah. Because normally I would give the game like a good few hours to play, but I've just been so busy lately that Age of Wonders 4 doesn't have the time to actually... this is me checking out the patch for the first time, right? Like 15 physical damage, doubled if it's cast on a dungeon province. +5 knowledge. Every turn, a province in the city's domain gains dungeon. Gain +2 production per adjacent dungeon province, counts as a research post, must be built on an acquired underground province. Okay, I feel like I have to take this now. How could I not? Look at that. That book this is incredible. That is so cool. They want like all of this stuff. I think the clay... Nah, I want that money. And the binding essence is insane too, actually. Let's get that underground vault. The vault. The vault. Lovely. 50 gold from excavating. Prospect over here, good sir. Another 50 gold. Oh, what's going on here? There's some ruins here near this golden lair. Oh, nice. We're finding more things to prospect. Frost Great Axe. We have researched the Gargoyle. We finished the Wizard Tower Foundation. But I gotta say, right, we've just unlocked our tier 2 books, and that means it's time for a cut in the video. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!